Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And I think in today's video about Litecoin, we have to do now, given the recent crash, a complete Elliott waves analysis on this area, starting from the lowest low all the way down here about $40 to about the highs around, let's say, $150 and see what is going on. And before I tell you why am I still bullish, let me just acknowledge the fact that, yep, in this phase on the upside, starting from here to about the highs, we absolutely do have between our pullbacks down, overlapping of the waves, and also this seems to be a slow and choppy move on the upside compared to this phase down. Let's just real quick compare timing wise. There we go. As you can see, the current move up in Litecoin is starting from the lows about $40 to about the highs around $150 has taken us about, let's say, 174 weeks. On the other hand, in about, as you can see, 55 weeks, we managed to have this very strong move down from the highs about $420 to all the way down here around $40. So I think we can all agree, so far at least, bulls do not really seem to have a whole lot of power in this phase. However, at the same time, this might be one of the most insane bullish structures ever in LTC. Why? Because you see, in terms of Elliott waves, if you want to say that we're gonna have our final low around this area, maybe this is like a very important support, then okay. Off of the lowest low, you have to be able to find a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. This specific structure is called an impulse. Rules for it are, we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave, our wave 3 actually should not be the smallest wave. That's like a big no-no in Elliott waves. And in terms of the sub waves, I think you know what I'm about to say. We have to have 5 wave up into wave 1, 3, and 5, and for wave 2 and 4, we can consider different scenarios. Honestly, not that important. Let's say, sure, ABC into 4 and a WXY into wave 2. Now, here's the situation. This wave 3 in terms of Elliott waves is usually the biggest wave, but before completing the subwaves for this wave 3, usually when you're having this 1, 2 followed by another 1 and a 2 from a lower degree, this is actually going to be some seriously boring price action until it's not going to be any more boring price action and you are going to see a massive breakout. And in LTC, if we want to be optimistic, I think we have to consider now a series of 1-2s. Why? Let's go on the live chart. Okay, so here's the thing. Even with the recent phase on the downside, I still believe that off of the lows in Litecoin, we do have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, followed by a correction down to about here, maybe an ABC or maybe a WXY, doesn't really matter. And I do think this is another 5 wave up from this point to about the highs. And that makes me say, you know what, if we want to be optimistic, maybe we're gonna say this is 1, this is 2, and then good move up into wave 3, 4, 5, which on a higher degree might be into wave 3 and 4 and 5. And in here, I think we are having a beautiful ascending channel right in here. There we go. Now, here's the situation. If this scenario is happening, then okay, it means in Litecoin, in the next coming months, we can expect a massive extension. And as long as we are staying within this channel, I think the extension scenario is not really going to be confirmed. When we get a move on the upside and in that space, we get a massive break out of this channel, pullback, and then a continuation of the move up. Okay, that is pretty much going to be the extension scenario confirmed, indicating in Litecoin, we are actually aiming to take the highest high in here for the first target, about, let's say, $420. But odds are, if this scenario is truly in play, we are going to go much higher than that. Now, any analyst at any given moment should be able to find a bullish and a bearish candle at the same time. And also we must have for each scenario a specific invalidation point. So what's it going to be for this one? I'm going to say it's actually going to be, taking this important low all the way down here about, let's say, $50, because if we go down in LTC from the current point and take the lows at that point, this has to be basically the subbase for an ABC zigzag, meaning what? yep, our move down is going to continue and we are going to take the lowest low in here as well, about $39. But maybe a better target at that point is going to be right around this important support area, about, let's say, $32. As long as we are not having that specific move down though, I think we can be a bit optimistic. And if you want to look for some early bearish signals, well, okay, just be a bit patient and see, are we going to actually get a break of, a breakdown of this important channel, which the lower band of it is about, let's say, $70 area. If we get a breakdown, yeah, definitely not an optimistic sign. Now, about the recent crash, what is going on here? First things first, this chart is on Binance, and as you can see, we wicked to all the way down here about $54, and it basically invalidated this 1-2 scenario that we were considering in the previous videos. Now, if you go on another chart, specifically I'm talking about the Coinbase's one, you realize that, yeah, okay, we haven't actually taken this important low down here in Coinbase's chart, and the lowest low is just around the $72 area. So I do think this is actually a bit more of a realistic chart, since in my view, the recent liquidation event was absolutely not natural and some shenanigans definitely were going on. Specifically, I'm talking about the situation with Binance. Now, if you want to go according to this chart from Coinbase, then okay, you can say maybe still this is 5 up into 1, this is correction for wave 2, and what's next? Good move up into wave 3, 4, 5. However, believe it or not, I actually do not like this gap. I want to say, starting from the highs to about the lows in LTC, we are most likely having an ABC in form of a flat, which looks like this. This is our initial move down into a correction for wave B, which in it we are going to get very close to the highs, or maybe even in some cases we are going to take them, doesn't really matter, and then a good move down into our C leg, and once more, either we are going to take it or we are going to finish our wave C right around the low of our wave A. And in terms of the sub waves, you know it, ABC into A, ABC into B, there we go, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down into C. Now let's go on the live chart and see, why do I like the flat structure a bit better as opposed to that impulse into a 1 and a correction for wave 2. So here's the deal. Let's go on H4 time frame so we can see the candles a bit better. You see, in the previous videos, I was saying in Litecoin, we can have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up followed by a correction down, maybe a WXY in form of a double zigzag. And I think the last time that we talked about Litecoin, we were right in here, and the idea was that if we get another move up, at that point, it is going to be pretty much confirmed that we are having in this area a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. And as you can see, before this crash, we did get another move on the upside, and well, what do you have in here? Basically 2 sets of 5 waves. Well, maybe these are the sub waves after all for an ABC in form of a zigzag structure. Let's just delete the sub waves. There we go. And this can be from the highs an ABC down, and this huge move on the downside can be in form of a 5 wave. So essentially, yeah, you are actually having from the highs to about the lows an ABC flat. Now, question is, can we argue we have hit our final low in LTC? First things first, let me be very clear. In my view, there is like a very limited chance that in LTC, and also for that matter in a whole lot of other altcoins, we are going to get some strong moves down as is from the current point in order to fill the gaps that were created as a result of the following bounce after this crashing event being way too fast. I do not believe that we are going to fill these gaps right in here, and if we get a very strong move up, and at that point we built a lot of leverage positions, okay, fair enough. At that point, I am going to be open to having some good moves down in order to liquidate those traders. Right now though, there isn't actually any leverage left in the market, so I'm going to say having a strong moves down in a lot of altcoins, I'm gonna actually say excluding Ethereum, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So I think downsides in this specific case in Litecoin is going to be quite limited. And let's go on Coinbase's chart. There we go. So here is what's going on in my mind. If you go, for instance, on 5-minute time frame, let's zoom out a bit. in my view, this initial move on the upside in LTC and in a lot of altcoins was actually in form of a 5-wave, and followed by that, true about the recent price action, I think we can consider a correction down. Preferably, I'm gonna say, yes, maybe in form of, let's just take this one, an A, B probably true about here in form of maybe like a flatter structure, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave down into C. And I'm really hoping that this initial move off of this important low, about $84 in Litecoin, is going to be in form of a 5-wave, maybe like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave up. And in the next 12 hours, I actually do not mind if I see a move on the downside in order to take the loss. Honestly, these lows in 5-minute time frame do look quite juicy. So by the time that this video goes out, maybe you are seeing a move down, but do not really worry. Odds are this is overall going to be a correction structure. And even if we get a move down in order to take the loss, here is what I have to tell you. I think this move down in LTC soon is going to come to an end, and going into the next week, I do believe that in a lot of altcoins, we are going to be in recovery mode and we are going to get some decent pass. So for the next week, I actually do expect some decent moves on the upside, but maybe for the next 24 hours in Litecoin, we are going to get a move down, and then we're going to have hopefully a good bounce. And at that point, I'm going to be able to tell you, look, if we are having truly a very strong move up, maybe this is going to be wave 1, correction for 2, and what's next? You know what? Great move up into wave 3, 4, 5, which can be a good sign suggesting, yep, probably in LTC, the bottom is set. So overall, in Litecoin, I do think that you can be bearish and you can consider the possibility of having starting from the lowest low about $40 and ABC zigzag. And if you want to be bearish, you know what? I actually don't blame you. This chart, so far at least, does look a bit suspicious, but at the same time, you want to remember that having a series of wave 2s actually does raise some eyebrows before having that massive extension phase that we talked about at the beginning of the video. So this structure, in my view, is basically literally a coin toss, and I'm gonna say, yep, as long as we are staying within this beautiful ascending channel, right in here, I'm going to be a bit optimistic and hope that we are going to get a good recovery in order to break this channel on the upside. And at that point, okay, our extension scenario is going to be confirmed, and in Litecoin, we can expect some exciting times. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in LTC. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.